welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. Ali Moreno, Stevie Nicol and Kay Murray here in the studio, and the quarter-final draw has been made for the Champions League. We now know who will be facing who. Atleti taking on Borussia Dortmund, PSG against Barcelona, Arsenal taking on Bayern Munich, and the draw of the round, Real Madrid taking on Manchester City. In terms of the bracket for the semi-finals, it's Atleti, Borussia Dortmund, PSG and Barca on one side, and Arsenal, Bayern, Real Madrid and City on the other. Let's welcome in some more guests to the panel, shall we? We've got Frank Leboeuf and also Julien as well. But I want to start with you, Ali, on your initial thoughts to the draw.
Well, it's heavy on one side, and obviously that matchup of Real Madrid-Manchester City is going to grab all the attention and all the headlines. But I think underreported and underrated is the fact that Bayern Munich and Arsenal are on that side as well. So you're essentially getting potentially 3 or 4 out of the best teams. 3 of them are going to be out before they get to the final. And look, it's the luck of the draw, I suppose. It's the way that the structure of this system is put together, and we should all accept it to some degree. But on the other side of that is teams like Barcelona, whose season looked to be spiraling out of control, now have a real opportunity to get to a Champions League final. A team like PSG that has had so many difficulties, inconsistencies, doesn't really look like a team. They have a chance of getting to the Champions League final. Atletico Madrid, who we didn't think, you know what, I don't know, they're having a down year in La Liga, I don't know, against Inter, are they good enough? They have a chance of getting to a Champions League final. I'm not going to talk about Dortmund because I don't think that they have a chance to getting on a Champions League final. But regardless, there's a pathway, there's an opportunity. So what you have is one very heavy side and one lighter side, and it's very clear to see.
What stood out to you, Stevie?
That the conspiracy theorists, as usual, are talking nonsense, you know. The fact that Atletico Madrid are playing Borussia Dortmund tells you that there's no such thing as hot balls in the bowl, right? That's what this draw tells me. Listen, there's 3 fantastic ties, and there's another tie where both teams are absolutely delighted at what they've got. And that's what happens when you get a draw, and you get a truthful draw.
Jules, I actually want to come to you on this one because I want to talk about this that Ali had said, there being a seemingly easier side of the bracket and a heavier side of the bracket, and get your thoughts on this and ask you if you think this is why the format will be changing as of next year.
I don't think it's one of the reasons, but it's true that this was the last draw of this kind that we will have now, because next season is the Swiss model, as we know, and then we'll have seeds for the last 16 onwards, so there won't be a draw with the hot balls or the cold balls, like Stevie just said. So this was the last time. Last season we saw something very similar. One side of the draw was heavy, the other side, the Inter Milan side, was not as heavy. It's just, I don't know, it's just something sometimes happens like that. If you're a PSG fan or Barcelona fan or the teams in the easier side, if you want, you're delighted. If you're one of the top sides and you think that Bayern, Real Madrid and City are in the same side with Arsenal, probably 4 of the 5 favourites, well, 4 of the top teams really for the bookmakers. It's a shame because we will lose, like Ali just said, 3 of them very early on, 2 in the quarterfinals, and then obviously after that in the semis. So that's the way, that's the draw. I think City did it the hard way last season. Let's see if they can do it again.
Frank?
Yeah, well, you know what? I like that. I like that, the fact that sometimes, you know, the draw makes some teams becoming the favorites because they are lucky. I hear sometimes also coaches or players saying, oh, you know, in order to win that tournament, we'll have to win against everybody. No, you don't have to. Some other team will do that for you. So it's part of the luck, it's part of the bracket, it's part of the draw. And I like that fact that luck is part of the game, and you have to have some good time and luck in order to win that tournament. And that's what it is. And I think it's not a good thing to change that, because it's part of what we have seen for decades, and it has helped many clubs. And I think it's part of our football. When you touch the bar, you are unlucky. When it goes in, you are lucky. And it's the same for the draw. So I enjoy that. I enjoy watching finals before the final. And because we have 8, let's say, we can have like 4 very good teams in the semi-final. I'm happy with that.
The one thing that I don't quite understand, though, is you have a draw ahead of the round of 16. You have a draw ahead of the quarterfinals. Why don't you have a draw ahead of the semifinals? Why are we having to predetermine the bracket ahead of the semifinals? In fact, why do we have to predetermine a bracket ahead of the quarterfinals? We haven't even played the quarterfinals, and we're already sort of figuring out and telling ourselves what the brackets are going to be and what their storylines are going to be. Why don't you let the quarterfinals play out, and then you have the draw for the semifinals, and we don't have to have this conversation? I don't quite understand. It's inconsistent for the rest of the competition. As I just said, you have a draw for round of 16, draw for the quarterfinals. Why don't you have a draw at the semifinals?
And you know what we're going to do? We're going to lose the mystique of the draw. You start getting seeds. Now it's all planned out. And oh, by the way, would there be any chance of this seeding thing coming in so that they can get all the supposed top teams at the end to try and make more money out of it? Because there's got to be something to do with that along the line.
Well, be honest, wouldn't you rather see all the top teams towards the end of the tournament?
Not. I don't want that
You'd rather
at the
see some of these
expense.
quarterfinals
I
in
don't
their
want
prime.
that at the expense of getting rid of the Cinderella story. That's what we're doing.
Right.
We're getting rid of the Cinderella story. The mystique of the draw is part of the whole competition. It's part of football. It has been forever, and we're slowly getting rid of all the things that we loved about the game. I mean, how many times, I don't know about you, but I've been sat by the TV or sat by the radio waiting to figure out who's Liverpool getting, who's City getting, who's Real Madrid getting, waiting for the draw. It's part of the mystique of the game. But again, we're going to get rid of it. It's madness.
And while I agree with you, Stevie, the only thing that I took out of what you just said is picturing you on the radio listening to it.
Well, on the bus. We used to sit on the bus. At the FA Cup, we'd be coming back from training at 12 o'clock. They used to have it at 12 o'clock, and we would be driving back with the first team, the reserves, everybody, the coaches, the whole thing, and we'd listen to the draw on the radio, the whole bus, to see who we got. It was fantastic. But, of course, too much fun. Let's get rid of it.
But obviously, with this setup as well, Jules, the way it is, and we're talking about the look of the draw, this is supposed to determine who the best team, the best club team is in the world, pretty much, the Champions League. You know, it's the elite of the elite. But could it end up being that the look of the draw means the team that wins wouldn't be seen that way?
You mean in the new format?
No, just even in this format, like, let's say Atletico all the way because it was an easier side for them, that we may not have expected to see them there, and then they went on to win it. Are we determining them as the best team, the creme de la creme, because of the way the look of the draw went for them?
Yeah, but you can only, we said it all the time, you can only beat what's in front of you. Frank said it, sometimes the pathway is very difficult and you have to beat. I remember when Real Madrid beat the champions of every big European league to go all the way. Great, then definitely you've beaten everybody, all the champions from France, from Italy, from England, great, you've done it, fantastic. There are other times where it's not your fault if you end up in the good side of the draw. It was not England's fault at the 2018 World Cup if by finishing what they did in the group stage, then they had an easier path to the final, for example, or semi-final in their case, compared to others maybe. It's just happened that way. So there's not much. I don't think it devalues really winning the Champions League. There were times where when Stevie played the Champions League, you didn't have as many games as you had now. It was a very different format. Next year we'll have a different format. Would that mean more if you win it when there's more teams in a Swiss format, like a league format? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not so sure. I think that if you're PSG and you beat Barcelona and then Atletico and then maybe City or Real Madrid in the final or Bayern, you will still feel like you're worthy European champions. If you're City or Real Madrid and you've done it the hard way again, same as well. So I'm not really sure if it devalues anything. It's just happened that this is the draw. Next season, the way when you finish in that Swiss model table will decide where you are and who you play against. This is just a different way.
Frank?
And on top of that, Kay, what is very interesting is also it can interfere as well in that old format. It can interfere as well with the championship, their own championship. You know, if you have City against Real Madrid, what kind of causes they're gonna get from that, you know, in the Premier League for City or Real Madrid for La Liga. That's very interesting, and it's what I like about it. Otherwise, you can plan everything, and yeah, as you say, the cream of the cream, as you almost said, the creme of the creme of the creme, will predict everything in their and plan everything during the season. So we're going to rest the players because we know we're going to play that team and that team and that team before getting to the top of the top. I don't like that. I mean, sometimes you have to live your life with surprises, and it's what we like. And I'm with Stevie in that matter. We are, as players, we were waiting for the draw. And as a top team, and I play for one top team, Chelsea, we were happy if we could avoid Barcelona at the time. And if we had to play them, we say, oh, we were excited at the same time. So it's part of that. We love that. We Cups, Champions League. It's very exciting. If we kill that, we'll kill a little bit of the football.